a little bit about how I set these up is I find an existing location, scrape location, or a place that I want to set a scrape up. That's based off of like a lot of features, rut funnel, trails coming together, cover, bedding, one that comes right off the bedroom. Get up at 12:30, walk over, touch that scrape up just because they want to stretch their legs and they're a little bit frustrated because it's November 7th.
Welcome back to Hunt the Season podcast. I'm Cody. On this one here, I sat down with Kevin Vistisen from the Deer Hunter podcast. I've listened to Kevin for a while now, probably about 2 years into starting the podcast. I started listening to Kevin quite a bit. I talk about it in this episode here a little bit, but the one thing that really stands out to me the most from Kevin's episodes was when he was up at his camper and he did episodes out of his camper, pretty much updating throughout the hunting trip. But on this episode, we talk about scrapes. We talk about hunting scrapes, how to hunt them, trail camera placement, his scent line, Deer Hunter Synthetic, previously DH3. We talk all about it, how he uses it, how he sets it up. And we talk about some of the bucks that he got last year, the 2 buck that he got last year. We also talk about his number 1 and number 2 target buck this year that he just got on camera at the time of recording this. It was a really great conversation, a lot of good information on how to hunt scrapes, how to hang the trail cameras, and what scrapes to pay attention to and what scrapes not to really pay attention to. Partners, OnX, Deer Hunter Synthetic, obviously, go get some scrape stuff. After listening to this episode, go get some scrape stuff over his website. It'll be in the description of the podcast. Go check it out. Get some before the season. Get some N11, too, for the rut. A new partner, Code of Silence. Use the code HuntTheSeason10. That'll save you some money at checkout. deerage.com. Use the code HTS. Or if that does not work, use code BackcountryPA. All capitals. That'll save you 10% off the entire order. Campco. Use code HTS. That'll also save you 10%. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. Remember to like, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a rating and a review on Apple and Spotify. Thank you, guys. Remember to always enjoy the freaking process. See ya.
I had to do a double take because I'm pulling one of those CNN reporters right now where I don't have any pants on because it's like it's 85 degrees here, but I'm on my back deck. So you're probably going to hear some birds and stuff. And I am in the flight path from the westbound airport traffic.
Yep.
So we might have a jet or two come over us, but it's like, well, I've been watching Hunting Beast for like 3 days in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reminded about Dan just like sitting in a bush in his backyard, like doing his interviews and shit.
You've never been on this podcast. I have listened to your podcast though for, I think since 2 years after I started the podcast in 2019 is when I started listening to yours. And like, I remember like the ones I remember are the ones where you're in your camper up north doing them out of your camper. Like those ones really stick with me.
Sure.
But, it's an honor to have you on the podcast here. We're going to talk about Deer Hunter Synthetic, which is new, scrapes, and you text me saying you got on some, might have gotten on some target bucks. So
yeah.
I'm excited to hear about that. But introduce yourself for the listeners, whoever, if they don't know who you are, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, sure. Kevin Vistisen. I'm the owner operator of Deer Hunter Podcast and Deer Hunter Synthetics. Been doing a weekly podcast for going on 9 years now. So we're getting close to a decade. We'll be hitting that decade here, another year. And then that's evolved into quite a few different things, but a handful of years back. Well, I've always been fascinated with scents and scents products, and that probably goes even farther back to I grew up hunting bait, over bait piles and putting bait out, like trying to bring a deer to a location.
Mm-hmm.
That's in my DNA from when I started deer hunting,
Yeah.
But the state made baiting illegal. And then as I evolved as a deer hunter, I recognized that maybe not all the time is baiting the most effective way to kill a big deer in the woods, It does happen, and it can be done.
Ohio
no shortage
is known for that.
Yeah. Well, it's a little more challenging, because everybody's going everywhere.
Mhm.
You know, you throw out a bait pile and you're committed to it, and then just some guy starts hunting, cutting off deer traffic or whatever. Like you're committed kind of to it. You know, there's different ways. Like you could go out and throw a bait out and hunt it over a long weekend and probably kill a deer or two.
Mhm.
There's some strategies there, but it's not legal.
Yep.
You have to actively be over a bait. Like the bait goes away and the deer go away. So, you know, and obviously always being fascinated with deer sign, you're always looking for rubs and scrapes, you know, and we started hunting scrapes, for forever. Right. It was just a thing that like, oh, there's a bunch of scrapes over there on that ridge line, you know, some bucks go there. And a lot of that is just transient deer traffic at night, you know, especially young deer. They'll just scrape and scrape. They'll go 20 yards and paw something up and go 20 yards and paw something up and go somewhere and paw something up. But not all scrapes are created equal. And then just got really interested in how deer utilize them. And all along, we've always tried whatever trickery we could with scent
Yeah.
products. If nothing else, honestly, I will default to it's a fun way to hunt.
Mhm.
And I don't
Absolutely.
know how people would challenge me otherwise because that's a personal thing for me. It's fun. You know, and I told you before we started recording that I've been just like watching Hunting Beast for like the last 72 hours because my family's gone.
Yeah.
So I'm bachelor this week. That
Yep.
started Sunday. My wife left Sunday early morning and I
Yeah.
went and deer scouted all day, most of the day. I got back around 5.
Okay.
And then I started cocktails and doing some work here. And then I started watching Hunting Beast, and I haven't stopped since. And it's like Tuesday night.
Are
So
you watching like older ones? Or are you watching new ones that came out? Because I found myself going back for the hunting public. I've been watching like their old deer tour videos,
sure.
like their I mean, I'm going back to like season like 1 and 2 of like the hunting public deer tours, and I'm like, man, they look so different, like wearing the what is it, the white the legacy stuff, the whitetail legacy stuff,
Sure.
and
Sure.
I'm like, man, this is nostalgic right here.
I watched episode 17 last week
Okay.
to answer that question, but I've been watching all of it. But, Dan's method is that he likes to find out where deer beds and
Mhm.
he likes to kill that deer coming off or going to its bed. He's hunting the bed.
Right.
I've evolved into hunting the scrape.
Mhm.
And it's just a personal preference. I want to kill that deer coming to or going from that scrape. Now the scrape revolves around bedding also. Like I
Mhm.
choose scrapes that are, it's like, a guy you get up in the morning and before you walk to your kitchen, you maybe habitually walk to your bathroom and take a leak.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's like the scrape thing for the deer coming out of the bedroom. A lot, if you find the right one, that's the one you want.
Right.
So I don't know if that's coming through the audio. There's a giant ass bee flying around me, dude. Uh,
I didn't hear a thing.
yeah, he's buzzing around me. There's a
Have him
couple things going on.
have
I
him
got a
land,
thermocell going, so we'll be
have him
good.
land on that mic right there. Maybe I'll hear him then.
Yeah, they're starting to buzz around. Honestly, I wasn't thinking that I'd have to deal with a horse fly or two, but yeah, I got him buzzing around here, and I might have to start a fight with him if he lands. Um, so it's a fun way to hunt.
Mhm.
We started having some pretty good success with it, and the scent thing for me, like I've had a trail camera partner. Exodus Trail Cameras has been a partner of our show like since we started.
Right.
Dude, I'm gonna kill this fly. This thing's drinking. You gotta be seeing that,
I
right?
see him fly around.
Yeah, I think it's just one of them. He's gonna give up here eventually, dude. I'm gonna win this bout. But I wasn't planning on swinging at horse flies when I was doing this. We should be good. I think he got intimidated. I flexed on him a little bit.
Yeah, he's not ready for this.
We had been running trail cameras, high quality video trail cameras with audio for years.
Mhm.
And, I'm messing around with different scents on these scrapes. And you'd have, a lot of positive interactions, but every now and then you could tell, especially with old does and old bucks. Like the older age class deer, they would be hesitant. You could see it in their body language and the way that they're like, you could tell 100% when a deer's like kind of, they drop their head a little bit and they look and they're like, oh, you're like, oh man, he's like tensed up, not exactly like liking something. And you just over time and time of reading that body language and being like, man, he smelled whatever was there and he was off put by it.
Right. It's not natural. And they were like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like older bucks, like, or older doe in general, like when they walk up to a scrape and it's like something that they're not necessarily used to, it doesn't sound or smell natural to them, it would throw them off. Like if you put something really sweet in that, because there's a lot of companies out there that put like sweet stuff in their pre-orbital sense to put on the tree, and it's like I can see how it would work, but yet also I can also see those mature bucks getting really thrown off by it.
Well, it's really interesting with deer because they're so individual. Like you'll have a giant deer that'll just come in and he's just like he loves it.
Right.
So, the percentage of interaction tends to be good because deer see the woods through their nose. We default to our eyes. Like we trust our eyes over everything. We default. That's our sense that we default to. If we can see it, we trust that over everything. Deer aren't that way. If they can smell it, they trust. So they see everything through their nose. And deer are individuals, but long story short, the premise of that is we started utilizing products based off of less negative interactions. We started to run out of products. And so then we got really thinking, like, what is this? What are we doing here? We got into synthetics and just kind of started back engineering maybe what other companies were doing. I would, if anybody asked me like, hey, I'm going to launch a scent company, what shouldn't I do? I would tell them don't patent your stuff and make it public.
Right. Yeah.
So we were, I got a couple wizard buddies. One of them specifically, well, I don't talk much about him because we keep our conversations private, but he works for one of maybe the biggest patent law firm in the entire world. Like they represent Apple and Microsoft.
That would definitely help.
That just happens to be one of my best friends that I grew up with. That's a deer hunting nut.
Yeah, that could help. Yeah.
Yeah. So he can read through all of that patent work and tell you kind of, hey, this is what they're doing and what they're protecting. And so we started to back engineer what other companies were doing essentially. And we had a vision that we could do it better. Yep. And also there were some problems with those products that we thought, this was the light bulb moment where I decided that I was going to do this. I thought to myself, I'm super disappointed with this. I feel like if whoever was manufacturing this and selling it was using it, they would take care of these problems. And then I kind of had a light bulb moment where I'm like, because they're not. Like this is a company and maybe they own 2 or 3 companies and this is a investment portfolio for some conglomeration or whatever, like the people that are actually behind the company aren't using the product, or they would resolve these simple issues. And that was it. I was like, hey, let's take a stab at this. And so we started, going to work, and my dad had me a chemistry set before, I was even 10 years old. We had microscopes and chemistry sets, and we were just always messing around with that stuff. And, to add to that, my profession is I'm a licensed plumber. Specifically, what I do is commercial, industrial, and we do some selective residential service. And so I've worked in Miami, Chicago, and Detroit over the course of like 3 decades, working on big commercial and industrial plumbing systems. And I also went to school for HVAC. I got certifications for welding, refrigerant, backflow. I like to solve problems. It's in my nature. I've made it my profession
Right.
to go to problems and figure them out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get. That's what gets me going.
Right.
And so this was just another venture in that department, but it was something that I cared very deeply about. And we started putting stuff out and running cameras over it. And then we started pulling cards, and I mean the smiles just started coming, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that's kind of the foundation of how it started.
So how many cents do you think you went through when you were running all those cameras and like you were like, well, it worked for a little bit, and then
all of them,
really
everything,
so like
just for fun.
Walmart sells a ton. Like you can go to almost any art shop. There's a ton there. It's like,
Dude, name it, and I'll tell you if I put it out. Deer cocaine.
Deer
cocaine.
Never even heard of that.
You've never heard of deer cocaine?
Oh,
okay. Yeah, you guys are in Pennsylvania. That might have been a Michigan thing.
I was gonna say, I think deer cocaine is not allowed in PA because it's.
So I think it was a salt and sugar.
Yes.
Substitute with some they put some type of flavoring or smell in it.
Yeah.
But they packaged it in blocks.
Oh, yes, those things. Yes. They do sell it in PA. Well, they did at Tractor Supply. They have a few of them. Like you can buy them like, because you can run mineral sites here in PA on private prior to the season. Like you have to stop 30 days prior to the season. You have to pick it up, but you have to like dig up the dirt to do that. So like, but I didn't know deer cocaine made also like any sense.
No, well, that's what I was talking about. I guess that is a mineral.
Yeah.
So maybe a little different thing. So scent specifically, pretty much all the synthetic brands.
Okay.
And then I had a Cabela's for the last like 8 years where I lived. 9 years? 10 years. The last 10 years prior to where I live now, I lived like 3.5 miles from a Cabela's.
Oh, okay.
So I just go to Cabela's and grab stuff.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, and you try a little bit of everything, but like going way back, like so in complete transparency, like our N11 is based off of one of my favorite scents ever. That is like old timey, like people that hunted for, I think, especially in the 80s and 90s, is a product called Trail's End.
I've heard of that. I've heard of it.
They're probably going to have an uptick in sales this year because I've been telling people, and I'm whatever. That's the truth. That was a product that I had a lot of success with, and that I really liked. Is I think it's called 308 Trail's End, which ironically 308 is a badass deer hunting gun.
That is, yeah.
They probably did that on purpose.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
I think it's Wildlife Research or one of those companies, but they made a product called Trail's End for putting in scrapes. And I was like, historically, that was probably my favorite scent. And we make a synthetic version of it. And it works as good or better for a better price point.
Right. Yeah.
And we're compliant with all the regulations for the states that won't allow cervid-based urine. We don't factory fire them. Like if you've ever seen like behind the scenes of like how some deer urine gets made, it's like, I don't know, it's not great. Anytime you see like factory farming, that's where we got fed. Like my buddy Joe says, I wake up every morning with $1 trillion propaganda bazooka pointed at my face. We're like anti-farming by all the propaganda we've been fed for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the deer farmers with the whole like urine and like taking the urine from, it's like, man, like because PA, it's kind of, with CWD. I mean, CWD is almost in every state now, or EHD, some kind of disease in every state. It's just in my opinion, it's just a natural thing that goes through deer no matter what, just like sickness goes through us as humans. Like when COVID happened, it was just a natural thing that went through everyone too. It's still out there, it's still going to be out there. It's
Right.
just CWD, like it's just a natural thing that the nature's going to take care of itself. It's been around for years.
It'll be here when we're gone.
Right. But like, why would you want to use the scent from a deer to help that could possibly like make CWD even worse? Right.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't even be my first thought, but it would be, it's a point.
Right. Yeah.
But my first thought would be, and I don't want to cast I'm not trying to be negative about this, but the reality of the situation of how people get deer pee.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend that had a deer farm pee operation.
Mm-hmm.
And so at night, they put the deer in a barn, and that floor is like stainless steel-ish mesh, and it funnels down. And so the deer piss and shit in there basically every night, and it's all funneled down into a deer pee bucket, and that's what you're buying. It's not.
Sounds terrible.
What do you think? Do you really think it's a certain they have a big buck hotel with individual rooms with buck urinals, and they pee this certain buck?
I think it's one of those things where it's you don't ask how a hot dog's made, right? You don't want to know.
You just enjoy it.
You just enjoy it. One of those American things. You just enjoy the deer piss.
Yeah, and I deer pee works.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, human pee works.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that work. I could go set a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out on a stump,
mm-hmm.
and deer would come and check it out. Anything that kind of smells good or interesting, they'll take a look at it. I bet you could go pour antifreeze because it smells sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you could go pour antifreeze in front of a tree stand and see some deer.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Anything that smells sweet, I guarantee a deer will go smell at some point. I feel like deer are they're very curious creatures. So you put anything in a scrape, and it's kind of especially if it has that an interesting smell to it, a different smell to it. Just like you said, they'll be weary about it, but they're still going to go check it out. They still want to go check out what was just there. What the heck just pissed in that scrape or licked that branch or, was just in this area.
Right. How did this happen?
Right. Exactly.
What you don't want to do is point them to you.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
and that's one thing I really liked about the one, I think it was a video you put out about make the scrape, or what was it? It was hang the camera, then make the scrape. When it freshen up the scrape or whatever. It was you want to hang that camera first before you freshen up that scrape. Because I was it's something so obvious, but I feel like I was overlooking that.
Yeah, multiple people have brought that up. It wasn't something that I always did, but it was something that, funny that you bring that up. It's nice to have good mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was fortunate enough years ago. My buddy that I told you about that worked for the patent law firm.
Mm-hmm.
He also did all a lot of the legal work for Beast Gear.
Mm.
He introduced me to Dan Infault.
Okay.
Years ago. And he got me connected with Dan, and Dan let me come over to Wisconsin and ride around with him for a day, and we baited bears. And so we're carrying all this bait in, and we're doing all this, and Dan said, "Hey, I want you to do the trail camera card. Just walk up, shut it off, pull the card, put the new one in, turn it on."
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. I set my bait buckets down. I walked over to the camera. I set that, or I switched cards out. And then I just kind of started walking off behind where the camera was. And he goes, hey, stop. I was like, what? He's like, I don't walk over there. And I was like, oh, light bulb moment. So he does the exact same procedure every time that he comes in. So there's nothing not normal about the situation. He goes, dude, you smell like Fruit Loops and stuff. You can't go walking over there. And so it was just something that I thought about when I was making scrapes. Is like, because the branch cattle really smells, especially once you spray a bunch of it and you get the wind blowing around and you're covered in branch catalyst. You're like, you smell like it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So, but that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit about how I set these up is I find an existing location, scrape location, or a place that I want to set a scrape up.
Mhm.
Based off of that's based off of like a lot of features, rut funnel, trails coming together, cover, bedding, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's either going to be an existing scrape there, like I said earlier, the one that comes right off the bedroom. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of deer bedded like in this area. So they might even like get up at 12:30, walk over, touch that scrape up just because they want to stretch their legs and they're a little bit frustrated because it's November 7th. They want to move around, but they know there's a bunch of guys sitting around and they don't want to go out,
Mm-hmm.
So stuff within tight cover, whatever. They might want to, like I said, they might want to touch that up during the day. And so you could take total advantage of that by going in there, not letting them know that you're there. The first thing I do is pick out a tree that I'll stand where the scrape is and look around. I picked this up from Dan too. Man, Dan's getting lots of love tonight. He really is. Dan's a man. I love Dan.
He is.
He talked about laying down in a buck bed, and seeing what they see. So I'll stand where that scrape is and I'll kind of look around. And I want to pick a tree that I can shoot to it, but it's not like in peripheral. Like I don't want and I'm even thinking about which direction is this deer approaching.
Right.
And when he approaches a scrape, which direction do I most likely think he's going to be looking? I don't want him to be looking right at me.
Right.
I want to be set off 45 degrees or 90 degrees or something, ideally. Now, you can't always predict that, but you can think about that when you're setting it up and think, he's probably going to come from this way or that way, and I don't want him staring a hole through the woods right where I'm sitting when he's walking into it. So I stand in that scrape and I try to figure out what's my best tactical advantage for a deer that's looking around to come into here and not see me.
Right.
That's the first thing, because if that's not there and you don't have that figured out, what good is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I was trying to do this year. Like that, I feel like to me, that's like I can put everything else together. It's just finding that tree. And like I feel like this year is like I really prioritized that when I was in the woods scouting, when I was finding these primary scrapes and these bedding areas and these main trails. Like I was like, I gotta find a tree. I can't come in here just willy-nilly and like pick a tree and just hope it's the right one. Because like you said, like when you play that, when you analyze things in the woods, when you stand there and you can analyze things like, okay, if he comes from this way, or if he comes from this way or this way, there might be that one tree that works for all those situations when you're standing in that scrape. But there might also be like, two trees that work for different wind directions.
100%.
Like you have a wind coming from the north to the south. It's like, okay, this tree will work here. You have a wind direction coming from the east to the west or whatever. Like, then it's like, okay, this tree will work. So it's like having those multiple trees is huge in those kind of situations, especially in the big woods.
Yeah. Well, also, great point. First of all, great point. And think about gun hunting or bow hunting. Like if I'm gun hunting, I'm setting this up for a 45-yard shot, 50-yard shot. I'm not like an avid marksman.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, you give me a scoped rifle at 50 yards, and I'm probably killing that animal very as effectively as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I set up. But if it's bow hunting, I want it 20, 25 yards.
Yep.
You know, so that's a great point. I take all that into account.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I didn't even really like when I was just talking about that. Like it's funny. Like when you think about that, when in my mind anyway, like when I think about that, I primarily think about archery. Like I don't even think about rifle because like I should because it's like, do I want to be necessarily 20, 25 yards it to that scrape with a rifle? Probably not. Like there's going to be less vegetation, there's going to be, less everything in the woods and more pressure too. So like maybe sitting a little farther back, give him a little bit more room or her a little bit more room to like kind of breathe,
Yep.
And then it's like then you have that opportunity when you're further away. Because like you said, like you put a scope on you give me a scope 270 that I shoot. I mean, I'm dropping them. Like it's this year I shot the one right in the chest when I walked up to him, and I thought, and it was like there's 4 buck on this little flat that I walked up to, and he was the first one. He always see was him turn to me, and I dropped. The only shot I had was right here. I was like, well, I'm shooting you. It's 20 yards from me. I'm shooting you right now. And dropped him, and then everyone else ran. But like 20 yards, that bullet that has more rise in it than anything. And it's like, I don't know if I want to take a 20-yard shot every single time with a rifle.
No, and it actually contradicts my statement of what good is it if you don't pick the tree that you can shoot to the scrape? Because with a gun or with a bow with a different wind phase,
Mhm.
maybe you do identify either the bed or where the steer's coming and going, and you're hunting the travel pattern to that scrape. That's never going to be my first choice. I want to hunt the scrape because the deer, even if it's for 5 or 10 seconds, I assume the deer is going to stop there
Mhm.
and they're going to interact with it. And I know exactly that yardage.
Yeah.
So I always, if I can get that stationary, that's one of the bigger reasons why I bow hunt scrapes too, is because it's like a stationary target. I want the deer to stop and be doing something so I can draw my bow and shoot it.
Mhm.
So, you know, you have to take all that into account. Like, how are you going to hunt it? And then once you figure out how you're going to hunt it, then you can figure out how you're going to monitor it.
Yep.
Essentially, how are you going to set up a camera? If you're going to set up a camera, how are you going to set up a camera? I think it should be a minimum of 6 feet high. I think it should be 6 to 8 feet high.
Yeah.
That keeps it out of the deer's like instinct range.
Yeah.
6 to 8 foot high for a camera.
Mhm.
And then also like I'd rather have that off to an angle where I don't feel like they're going to be staring right at it. But if it's up 6 or 8 feet high,
Mhm.
it's okay. I feel like if it's at their face level,
Mhm.
some of these cameras I come up into in the woods, it's just like I'm okay with this guy hunting here.
There's one that sticks in my mind right now. It was actually kind of a funny location. It was on a tree. The guy's tree stand was like right, like let's say this stand is the tree right here. His camera was like you. Like it was right there looking at his tree stand, but the big scrape, like I walked up like and the scrape was behind the camera. It was like, why are you monitoring your tree stand? This huge scrape is like literally like it's the size of this table right here behind you, and it's hip level too. Like it's like I see that so commonly with like hip level cameras in
Yeah,
the woods. I'm like,
it blows my mind.
that deer's gonna see that right away, and he's gonna skirt around that. The first time he sees that, he's gonna skirt around that camera.
Yeah, and if it has an IR lens filter, it's going to make noise and it's right there in their face.
Yep.
I learned that a long time ago. That mechanical lens that opening or moves up and down,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a one lens camera, which most of them are.
Yeah.
There's a mechanical lens that moves for the IR filter,
Okay.
and it makes a little bit of noise. It's a mechanical thing. You can barely hear it, but I'm telling you, I've been out there muzzleloader hunting at like the end of winter when the woods is so quiet, and come walking in and walk in front of a camera, and you're like walk right up to it basically, and you can hear it, and I'm like, well, there you go. If I can hear it, they can hear it for 4 to 10 times further out, right?
I actually, just as you thought about it, I thought about a camera that I rehung, and when I turn it back on, I heard that little like click, and it's a wild game innovation, an old wild game innovation with that one camera lens. But I'm like, I think it's like, it was in like a good area too, but I'm hoping a bear takes it down because there was a lot of bear sign there. I'm just kind of hoping a bear takes it down now, so like it just throws it all off.
If you take one of those cameras and you go in like like a bathroom, like an interior bathroom that doesn't have windows, where it's dark, and you have the lights on, and just snap the lights off, you'll hear it go click.
Because it changes a lens from like day to night.
It drops. There's a filter. There's a mechanical filter that drops in front of the lens for the infrared.
Oh, okay.
Without that IR lens, it won't pick up that light spectrum.
Okay. Just not aware of that.
See it without that lens.
Yeah, because I run primarily like the cheap cameras, like Tasco's, Wild Games, all that kind of stuff. Like I haven't had issues with them, but also,
hey, it freaks bucks out.
I hang my cameras mostly like that, like
you can get away with it.
Yeah, and like last year when I was running them in the springtime, I had a ton of mature buck in velvet, and then all through the season too. So like, as I feel like as long as I hang them up high, I think I'm good. Like I didn't really have any of them look at the camera. Like so, even this year, like this springtime when I checked a few, I didn't really have any look at the camera. So I think location is good. That one, now I'm worried about that one.
Well, because there's always things in the trees that make noise. The deer are used to that. But if there's something that they're investigating, or it's right in their face and it makes a noise that they can decipher, that's like, I've never heard that, like click.
Yeah, if they can see it. If they can be like, okay, that's not supposed to be like a block on a tree. Like,
yeah,
that's clearly not supposed to be there, right?
That alerts them.
Yeah.
And then when it makes that noise, they're like, fuck that. Nope. I've never heard that before. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So that's the next part of my setups is taking all that into account on how I place my camera. Also, I try to have it facing north or south, so I'm not getting sunrise or sunset. I don't want the proximity sensor going off 100 times a day because the sun direction is changing. So I try to have it pointing north or south. Avoid having a camera go west to east because when that light changes, especially in the summer, as it heats the vegetation and the vegetation cools and a little bit of breeze comes through, it'll make your PIR sensor go crazy. And you'll have a ton of, and it's just annoying.
Yep.
It's super annoying. And if you're running cell cameras, it's going to cost you money.
Yeah.
So you can avoid that. So if you're going to monitor it with a camera, that's the next step. You pick your trees, you figure out how you're going to hunt it. Then you figure out how you're going to monitor it. And then the last thing you do after you have all that situated, I typically will go up a tree just to confirm, like this is the tree that I know that I'm coming up and I'm going to be sitting right at this level and the whole thing. I have all that detailed. I sometimes will cat eye my trees, and I'll also cat eye where I put my platform.
Okay.
So that when I go up, I might not have been to that spot in 2 or 3 years.
True.
So it's like, yeah, I remember the spot, but was it 3 sticks, 4 sticks?
Right.
3 spaced out, 3 real tight.
Mm-hmm.
you'll have a pretty good idea. But if you put a cat eye right at the base of where your platform should be,
Mm-hmm.
you're locked in. Like you're sitting the exact height that you sat last time, that you have the perfect vision, the best. So I go up that tree and I figure out where that is. Do I need to be at 18 foot, 12 foot, 16 foot? Where is my perfect height?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll set a cat eye for the base of my platform. So when I come in there in the morning, I have my breadcrumb trail on my mapping software.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get within about 50 yards, I'm kind of just scanning. This is obviously morning hunts, right?
Right.
Scanning. I locate my cat eye and I can walk right to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not leaving a trail of them,
No.
the likelihood of somebody just coming through the woods in the dark and like, oh, that tree has a cat eye on it. Yeah, so does like a million trees in the everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
it's not, you're not giving too much away,
Right.
but you know exactly what tree.
Mm-hmm.
Then you make your final approach. And then when you go up that tree, if you have the red or green lamp or whatever, you can look up and you're like, all right, there,
Mm-hmm.
12 foot. I know exactly where I got to set the base of my platform, whether that's a stand or a saddle platform, it makes no difference.
Right.
That's where your feet are going to rest.
Yeah. I think that is one of the best pieces of advice, like, because I went in the woods, well, when we're recording this is July 15th. So like a week and a half ago, I went in the woods with my new stand from XOP, and like I want to test it out. And like this one spot, I was like, this could be actually a good spot. There's a trail running up a ridge. I was going to sit down below it and then be able to, like, the sucky part is like you'd be almost a little bit close to eye level with them, but it's like you could be a little bit higher, right? Like I practiced my setup in the actual woods, and I was like, okay, this is actually kind of nice to actually practice in the woods instead of like a manicured tree in your backyard, or something that's set up perfectly, right? Because no tree in the woods is always gonna be perfect.
Right.
So I love that.
Yeah, I've been looking at a bunch of their social media stuff. They're making some nice products, man.
I think I use Alex from Buck Down just sent me some stealth strip, and I think he sent me your camo,
Oh, I hope he did.
your digital camo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I put it on my sticks.
Well, we'll get you more of that.
I put it on my
Yeah,
sticks.
if people go to Stealth Outdoors, this is the time of year to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We have our digital camo pattern over at Stealth Outdoors.
Yeah. It's a cool camo. It's cool.
It works real good against pretty much all like trees. We made it for a lot of the other camo companies are made to be on jackets and things, like
Mhm.
we took into account what we're actually using stealth strips for, climbing trees.
Yep.
And I think, Lou has a handful of good patterns. He really does. But I think ours does, as good as breaking up. Like we've put some sticks on some trees and you're like, it messes with your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
so it helps, especially those first two sticks. You get a mature doe that comes in and is right around and look at, dude, you haven't hunted for a long time if you haven't had a mature doe come in and look at your stick and then just like walk her head right up and look right at you. It
Yeah,
makes a difference.
I had it happen last year. So like I always run two sticks now. It's less weight, I guess. In my mind, it's like it's less weight taking the woods. I take two sticks with aiders, three
Yeah.
or two steps,
Yeah,
and one
sure.
stand. Like I don't feel like I need to get any higher than like 12, 13, 14 feet. Like if that's max for me, like I don't need to get any higher. But like I had this doe come busting down the mountain, and like she comes to maybe 8 yards from me and like just stares at my sticks and looks up and down at me, like doesn't blow, nothing. And then that's when I had the buck come up after that, and one I couldn't recover, put a bad shot on him, all that kind of stuff. But he survived, so he's good. But yeah, like that was the fact that you got 8 yards and was looking at my sticks and like didn't see him at all. I was like, well, that's pretty good. But she didn't see him.
Yeah. We should finish out this setup, and then I want to I'll tell you about what happened here over the course of the last like 3 days since my family left, because I texted my buddy Joe today and I said, I can't handle these videos coming in.
Yeah.
Like it's
On your
got
cell
me,
cam?
it's got me stressed out. Like, what's the chances that I'm going to kill this deer? But now I know that he's around and that's all I can think about, So
Yeah.
to finish that out, all
Mhm.
that stuff is taken into account. When we make our scrapes, typically,
Mhm.
what I do is cut an oak limb.
Okay.
I cut a few oak limbs, like you could do it this time of year. Right now is perfect time. You
Mhm.
find like a young, small oak, that's low to the ground where the limbs basically are right in your face. It's got a bunch of leaves. And you just cut those off. And I throw them off my driveway behind my garage for like a week in the sun
Mm.
and let them die and dry out.
Okay.
Because if you try to hang them when you freshly cut them, they weigh about 4 times.
The weight, and they hang down a little further so they won't
They
be.
hang down way further.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on what you're putting the thing on, it can change as much as a couple feet.
Mhm.
And so I like to have them dead and dried out
Okay.
because they'll hold their leaves for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've like used one at a scrape for a year and then went and cut it down and moved it to another scrape.
Really?
Same, yeah, 100%. The same dead oak limb. I just did that last week. It ties into my story about what happened here over the course of the last couple of days.
So, quick question about those, because I know some people tie like rope on the end of those sometimes to hold scent a little longer. Is that
Sure.
something like that you would do, like around like the end of that branch, like tie a like 2-inch rope around like the circumference of that branch is to hold it up a little bit, hold that scent just a little bit longer?
Normally,
Okay.
in my pack,
Yeah.
I have a couple cameras,
Mhm.
my scent product, I have this super light gauge stainless steel lighter,
Mhm.
and a pair of like alignment dikes,
Okay.
and then some zip ties. And I usually have like 2 or 3 oak limb branches with me.
Mhm.
And that's like my thing.
Yeah.
So I've used a lot of ropes. We'll get into the deer that I found. I got confirmation today that's alive, is on a rope.
Yeah.
So I do use ropes,
Okay.
but I use ropes like 1 out of 10 times now, only
Yeah.
because one, a limb just looks more natural.
Mhm.
It can take 2 years for a deer to assimilate to a rope.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
found that out. I've put ropes out where the first year it's a dud and the next year all of a sudden they're using them.
Right.
I've also put ropes out where the biggest buck in the woods within 2 weeks becomes very territorial over it. It's
Mm.
it's really interesting, man.
Good to.
I've had a couple deer that were the biggest deer in the block
Mhm.
that have become that real quickly got very protective of that rope because it's unique.
Right.
I think there's
Yeah.
not another rope around. So they're
True.
like, this is mine. It's like a
Yeah.
dog with a bone.
Yeah.
But if you hang a rope in public land and somebody walks by it,
Mm. Nope.
that it's dead giveaway.
Yep.
So if you're real clean about zip tying up a limb, the reason I have the wire
Mhm.
is because I've gone as far as on some of my private land spots where like this is the perfect spot, but there's not even a tree, but there's like 2 small trees.
Yeah.
I'll cut a small tree, like a span of like 10 foot,
Yeah.
hang oak limb from the middle of it and make a scrape.
Yeah.
That's what I did with the rope that I was talking about that I found the deer today. But
Okay.
normally it's the oak limbs, and the reason is they're more natural. They don't cost anything.
Nope.
You're gonna have the most deer interaction with that. Like that's been my observed studies is that more deer will interact with that than the rope. But the rope can be very valuable, like I said, because some deer will become like possessive of it. And they really like it. Vines work really well too.
Yes. Yep.
But I just like the oak limb because of the convenience of it. And if I'm on public land too, like I don't want to be putting things like I want to have as minimal impact as possible, basically. I always say I want to make everything. Yeah.
Not giving away location to any other hunter.
Yeah, that and just like respect for the land.
Mm-hmm.
It's like yours, but it's everybody else's. So like make it look nicer than it looked before you came there.
Yeah. Yes.
But the biggest thing is, I don't want those negative interactions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to the scent product. I don't want an animal to walk up on that and be like doing the, making his body language all weirded out, and you get a percentage of that. So the other good thing about the oak limbs is that when they stick their nose in there and they work it, it's like a rattle. Like it's kind of loud, and their eyeballs and their ears are like right up, dude. I mean, that you set that up at 25 yards. So that deer's at 25 yards. It's distracted. It can't hear or see. Give me a better setup as a bow hunter.
Yeah, there's nothing else as a bow hunter that I mean, unless you're hunting over bait, but then it's like, that's not legal in the states we can hunt in.
Even then, the thing with the bait is that's not natural. So they're constantly like, any of the baits that I've ever hunted are on, public land or private land that's heavily pressured. And they're going to come in, they're going to eat, but they're going to be very wary. They will get comfortable, but they're also on a little bit of alert because they know it's not but with a scrape, you'll have a lot of deer come in that just like, they're so relaxed and calm. No big deal. They'll walk right into it like they own it. They'll jam their face right into this limb full of leaves and start working their face around. They can't hear anything or see anything, and you're sitting at 25 yards.
Yep.
It's a dead deer. I mean, at that point, it's only up to you to screw it up, right?
Yeah, so the buck I sent you that I'm after this year, my number one, if I can get him, that he only hit one scrape, and he did that exact thing that you just said. Like he went crazy. That's the only time I got a picture of him hitting a scrape. Every other time he just walks past it. And it's like, there's only one scrape that he would ever do that at, it seems like. And it's like, that's your one chance right there. So like, he's completely distracted once before he gets up and starts ripping that thing apart. That moment there is when you like, okay, I set up for this. This is the shot right here before he can go to town on that licking branch.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the foundation of, the system.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened this week was like a culmination of all of that coming together, and based off a couple of years of working that system. So I did no spring scouting because I couldn't. Family, I work a full-time job. I did not have time to spring scout.
Yeah.
But I took some vacation time over 4th of July, and I picked 3 half days essentially. In the morning, I got up, I did whatever work stuff I had to do, worked out, handled my business, and then by like 10 a.m., my plan was to scout from like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
Because it's been getting hot out. I don't want to be out there 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just absolutely dying. But it's been hot. I've been dying.
Yeah, it's been really hot.
My buddy Byron was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
like, 4th of July weekend, man.
I was out once in the summer, and I was like, "This is brutal." Like I woke up at 4 a.m., went out, and I was back to my truck by like 11.
I'll give you a tip that honestly has helped me out a whole bunch is cedar oil. We buy product called cedar side, like pesticide, cedar side.
Yeah.
And it's cedar oil, and it keeps ticks and mosquitoes. It doesn't horseflies. They're like on cocaine or something. You can't stop those things, dude. They're out of control. But the cedar oil will keep the mosquitoes down and will keep the ticks down, and it's a noticeable difference.
Okay.
So I spray down with that cedar oil, and it's manageable. You know, it's annoying, but it's manageable. The horseflies killed me this week. Like, you know, by the time it got to be like 4 o'clock, I was like, I'm super excited now because everything I've been finding and doing, but I got to get out of here. I'm dying.
Right.
You know, like I need to find the nearest gas station and get like a Monster recovery, like lemonade and tea with B12 and 100 and 200 milligrams of caffeine, or I'm not going to make it home. Dude, these flies are killing me.
Yeah.
But I didn't do any spring scouting because I didn't have any time. I work with what I have. And it's a testament to the system, right? For efficiency and effectiveness.
Yep.
I had 3 half days that I scouted last week. I scouted 3 different places. I don't know how many scrapes I made. 15, 20, 15-ish.
Okay.
12, 15. I made a dozen, 15 scrapes.
But
I only deployed 2 cameras. Because one spot, I wasn't even planning on going in there. I like pulled over to the side of the road and was on a phone call. I'd wanted to look at it, but I just like poked my head in and I was like, oh, there's a giant rub like 20 yards in. And that was the end of it. I was gone for 3 hours. So I didn't even take the cameras or the bag or the scent, and nothing went with me.
Yeah.
But I scouted 3 different areas in the last week. I had 4-hour windows. I ultimately hung 2 cameras. That was Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Okay.
Last week. So today, as you and I are recording this, it's Tuesday. It's been exactly 1 week. I found a deer that I was hunting last year that is, I don't know. I really don't. I honestly don't. He could be in the 160s.
Okay.
Depending on what happens with his tines. I mean, he could touch or break 170. He's a giant deer. I hunted him last year. I think last year he was like mid to upper 150s. But his beams and his width, from what I'm seeing right now, he made substantial growth. So I don't know if he hit 5 or 6, but I think I honestly think last year he was a 4-year-old.
Wow.
With really good genetics, and he last year he was a 5x4 with a split G2.
Okay.
I got a video of him this morning in a bachelor group.
Well, is there any other big buck in that batch group, or just him? Like any decent buck?
Well, the other 2 deer that were with him are probably in the 120s or maybe like 130.
Still, I would still shoot them.
They're 3 big deer, but he's special.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you're talking about 12 hours worth of time taken off from anything else that you're doing that's important to you.
Right.
right?
Mhm.
I don't have a ton of time. I have 2 young kids. I basically run a company and work a full-time job.
Mhm.
So I'm like, what is the most effective and efficient system and way to break down a ton of acreage and find a big deer, to hunt? And so this, I've never found a big deer so quickly. Now, I found this deer last year and I hunted this deer last year.
Yeah.
And I had this deer last year at 10 yards,
Mm.
but it was right at sunset.
Mhm.
And I was hunting like in some thicker pines
Right.
and there was some other deer around. So I knew that I knew that a deer was walking right at me,
Mhm.
but I couldn't tell if it was going to go right or left.
Yeah.
And it was dead silent and it was crunchy leaves and it was dark. I couldn't
Mhm.
see. I'm sure it was after legal shooting light.
Yeah. Especially in pines too, it gets darker quicker in there
Yeah,
as well.
100% it does. But I hear a deer coming right at me, but there was also other deer around, so it was
Mhm.
super confusing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to come to my right or to my left, and I'm just sitting there, and the next thing you know, he's like right there at my 12 o'clock,
Oh my gosh.
and I can see his rack, and I'm like, oh my God,
Mm.
it's him.
Yeah.
And what in hindsight, whether light was legal or not,
Mhm.
if he had walked to my right, I probably could have drawn my bow and seen a pin and shot him.
Right.
But I'm letting people know that it was that late. Like it was probably not legal light.
Right.
He didn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
He walked to my left
Yeah.
where I would have had to stand up and draw my bow.
Right.
And as he's like walking to my left, I just like instinctively like moved a little bit to like turn my body,
Mhm.
and just that stopped him dead in his tracks. And he like stopped, and my butt probably made like a little bit of like sliding on the seat,
Yeah.
and it locked him up.
Yeah. Any little
But,
noise, yeah.
but my wind was going way up and over him,
Mhm.
and he stood there for I don't know 15 seconds or something,
Wow.
and then he just walked right through. And I watched him, and I'm like,
Wow.
I've never been that close to that big of a deer.
Yeah.
And he was all around through through the season.
Mhm.
But I ended up shooting another deer
Mhm.
during archery.
Right. Yep.
As far as I knew, like this deer kind of came running in, like it. I thought it was him.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after I walked up on him where I was like, oh, that's not that deer's not as big as I thought it would. Like I knew it wasn't the deer.
Right. 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 But you were still like the thing is like you were still like that deer got you excited to shoot it.
Oh, it was. I had been wanting to shoot a deer on camera,
Mm-hmm.
and it was thrashing up a scrape, and it's like November 1st, and yeah, it all worked out perfectly.
Right.
Like I said, I always default to like having a good time.
Yep.
My parents were in town. They were staying at my house for the weekend, so I was like, dude, I'm about to roll back up to the house with a buck in the truck.
Yep.
Friday night, we went out to dinner. The whole thing, it was perfect. I wouldn't take it back for anything.
Right.
But the big one lived on. He made it. I got confirmation this morning. So I went out last Tuesday and I made 2 scrapes 75 yards apart. One with a rope, one with a branch.
Okay.
This morning I got a big bachelor group, though 3 deer
Mm-hmm.
on the rope.
Oh. Okay.
And the big deer was there. He was one of those deer. So I was like, all right, He's live and he has a ton of my attention. There's a big 10-point
Mm-hmm.
that I played cat and mouse with last year that so I put N11
Mm-hmm.
out last year, like right at Christmas.
Okay.
I didn't really finish that product until middle of October.
Yeah.
And then started putting it out, and I was like, oh, sweet. Like I said, it's kind of our version of Trails End,
Yeah.
but it's a synthetic. And I, was playing around with it through the season, but later in the season, like December 25th or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
I went out and put it on a scrape. And over the course of the following week, in the next 7 days, I had 6 or 7 different bucks and 2 mature deer.
Yeah.
And one of them particularly was this big 10-point. He's a 140-inch 10-point.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
only 3.5 years old.
Wow.
That's what I believe to be true, and I shared it with some people, and
Yeah.
they think it's a young deer. I mean, he looks like a young deer, but he's a giant rack. He has a huge beams,
Great genetics.
good hind length, and he already has some mass.
Yeah.
And so I think this year he's going to be a stud.
Absolutely.
Well, I had videos of him ripping that scrape up to like January 10th.
With
So
the N11 in it.
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There was multiple bucks there. There was does bedding there. Well, part of it also is this where I put it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the product. I put it on a point on some hill country where I felt like deer would be very comfortable bedding late in the year because all the foliage is down. They can see real good. They have the wind coming over the ridge top and over their back. Like it seemed like a really good bedding area.
Right.
And I think what ended up happening is that a hot doe came in there and bedded up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened, I put that product out. I had that camera up, and over the course of the next 2 weeks, it was lit. and so there's another scrape 200 yards from there on another finger point. So there's 2 finger points. There's basically a military crest that runs north to south that connects those, and it's a little bit of a worn-in trail, but it's pretty steep. Nobody's hunting up there, and that deer was visiting both of those scrapes, and so I feel like I have a pretty good plan in place to hunt that deer this year.
Mm-hmm.
On top of this deer that I got video of this week that I know that is alive. So when I sent you the text that I said, hey, I got confirmation that it's either going to be my number 1 or my number 2.
Yep.
That is because I haven't gotten video of or photos of the other deer yet. And I don't know how big he's going to be. I could get a picture of him and he could be
massive.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely, he has like the genetics that he's like kind of a freak.
Yeah.
So even at 4.5, he might be shockingly big. But I sent those photos earlier today to my buddy Byron, and he's like, the body on that deer is ginormous. And I'm like, yeah, I think he's probably 225 or north.
Yeah.
Like he's a giant bodied buck.
That's big. That's big. Do you think he could be pushing 200 pounds?
Yeah, I think he's probably 225 or north of that.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's when I said 200, maybe I said 200 inches.
No, you said 25. So I wasn't sure about I wasn't
225.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, I suspect that he's somewhere around 225 pounds, that like, especially like late summer, like right now he's got, full belly full of green vegetation and everything. It'll probably change once he starts chasing does around. But
And you if you can get on him before the rut even happens, dude, he's going to be easy like 230, 240 because you're
yeah,
going to put on that weight on, and then right before the rut, he'll just drop down to maybe like 180 in the rut.
yeah, we'll see what happens. But
That's so. Quick question about the N11 before we end it. So, what would you recommend, like that time frame, to start putting it out?
I don't think it belongs in the woods until like Halloweenish time frame.
Okay.
I really don't. I think that's the advantage of it, is because it's a chemical change,
Mhm.
right? So if you have a scrape and you're using synthetic urine and the branch catalyst and the deer are assimilated to it, you could set that up in August or September and just have the deer utilizing it.
Right.
If you have the ability to sneak in there and apply N11,
Mm-hmm.
something has changed.
Right.
And to our best of our abilities, we believe that it the deer are ready to be excited by the fact that we're about to get it on.
Yep.
And anything that can trigger that kind of response where they're like, hey, something changed here,
Mm-hmm.
a doe is ready, it's party time.
Yep. Yep.
That's what that product does.
Okay.
So I think it's utilized properly. I love it for late season.
Okay.
Like, people say the second rut, I just call it the rut. Like the
Yeah.
rut is from like, October 20th to
Mhm.
basically like January 15th, 20th.
Yeah.
That's the rut.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But
my buck that I shot this year, I could still smell that he was rutted up. Like he was just, I could smell him when I shot him. And like, the rut goes, I like when I first started the podcast stuff, like I was like, oh yeah, the second rut, like nothing happens between this time frame and the second rut. But really it's like, it goes the whole way. Like from, like you said, the October 20th, the whole way till, I mean, heck, into January, mid-January, late January.
that's exactly correct. And it varies a little bit regionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that product late season.
Okay.
I love it around Thanksgiving window, but I don't. One, it's more expensive because it has like our gland mixture in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. I would like say don't spend the money on it because it's not going to work as good.
Right.
And also, it's like a special treat thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't give them the special treat all the time because then it's not special.
Keep
So
them
if you
wanting
have, yeah, exactly. Like, be expected to, like, when I go throw this down, that they're, but you can't change when and why they want to do, like, they're they're programmed by the amount of sunlight,
Mm-hmm.
the photosynthesis, their optical gland that drives everything. So
Right.
like you're not going to overcome that, but you can manipulate it.
Mm-hmm.
So once they are positioned to be like slaves to that hormone change, then you can throw that curveball at them. And I think it kind of like trips them up where they're like, all right, I'm super interested in this. Something changed. A doe came here that is now ready to go, essentially, right?
Yep.
So that's what that product specifically is. The branch catalysts, those work all year long.
Mm-hmm.
They have the synthetic gland mixture in there, and
Yep.
then the synthetic urine obviously can be used all year long as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I'm excited to try the N11 during like the rut, like that time frame, because I think it will play huge dividends, especially like the rut camp up north in the big woods in like Potter Clinton County. area, it's going to be, I think it's going to be really good because they're around that time frame when we're up there. They're chasing hardcore.
If you can find a spot where the deer are still comfortable later in the season, and especially around, so peak breeding here in northern Michigan, is around November 15th ish.
Okay.
So the deer that don't get bred, and then also the fawns from that year, a lot of them will come into heat a month from then. So that puts you in basically the December 12th to 15th window. Okay, so if a doe doesn't get bred, it'll go back into heat about a month later.
Yep.
And that also is when a lot of the first year does will come into heat, is that late part of December. And I think that product applied in the right place in the late part of December is, I mean, it's ridiculous from what we observed last year.
I know exactly. I know the exact spot because I have a fawn that was on camera July 3rd.
But don't use it until my suggestion is like save that.
Yeah.
Don't use it until that window. But also, it could be used as early as late October, but I love it for late season.
Yeah, I'm planning around like that November timeframe, November 6th to the 10th timeframe, and then also like the rifle season timeframe of like after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's I would recommend not using it outside of the natural breeding period of your local deer herd.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
Yeah. That, like you said, it differs everywhere. Like you have to be in the right area, right time to find those hot doe too. So yeah.
Kevin, well, I see we've lost all of our light, or I have lost all my light. You can basically see a dim image in the.
I can see your headphones. There we go.
Yeah. If I turn a light on right now, I'm going to be swarmed and assaulted by bugs. So
that's why I didn't ask you to turn a light on, because I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's a good conversation. Doesn't matter if I can see his face or not. It doesn't.
And we didn't get an airplane over or nothing. The birds died out. I mean, you can't even tell I'm sitting outside now, right?
I mean, I can see the sky behind you a little bit. I was hoping for like a UFO to fly behind you. Like, I think that would have been pretty cool.
I got a couple Roman candles we can light off.
Shoot them in the air.
Yeah, 100%. Set this thing off the right way. Who's had fireworks on a deer hunting podcast? Nobody.
I don't think there's anyone. Well, no, I think there's a podcast that's around me here that I think they like sat outside in a podcast while fireworks were going off. Oh. I don't think it was a video podcast. It was just like a audio.
That's a good move. But I'm thinking we'll light our own off.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. I had a great time. It was really nice talking with you. Like I said, my family's all gone and everything, so I was feeling a little lonely this evening anyway, so it was nice to chat.
Well, I'm glad I could help you out with that a little bit,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, dude, it's been awesome talking to you, hearing about the stories of deer you're after and Deer Hunter Synthetic, and hopefully I can put one down and show you that I came to the scrape.
Yeah, you've been chasing a couple nice deer, at least one in particular that's like it's kind of a giant deer, right? So
he's like a basic 6,
The Billy Ho.
Yeah. So where can people follow you and go buy some Deer Hunter Synthetic? And
deerhuntersynthetics.com. It's also Deer Hunter Synthetics on Instagram. We just, I said I'd quit doing deer hunting things if I ever had to go on TikTok, but we did open because I guess people use that website. I guess people use that platform and application, TikTok. So we do have that, and there's the shop set up there. But deerhunterpodcast.com, and then also we have a YouTube. If you Google anything Deer Hunter Podcast, you'll find us. But the scent product specifically, deerhuntersynthetics.com is where people can go to find that. And there's a lot of testimonials on there. There's a bunch of tutorials and like information on what the product actually is in detail and use and care and all that. So
yeah, a lot of good information on the website. I can verify that. I'm actually looking at it right now.